December. We're here. We're 11, 12ths of the way through the year. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good holiday season, Thanksgiving, heading into Christmas. Lots of good stuff happening in 2023. I'm really excited about just the opportunities we have. It's going to be just a fabulous year of ministry for a lot of you. I know and just really believing that to be true. Hey, wanted to jump on Facebook, YouTube, wherever else live that we're going here for the next few minutes. And I just want to share with you off a post I made yesterday on my personal profile. I don't know if you saw it. I talked about how leaders sometimes feel like they need conferences when the thing that they really need is community. Um, Man, it's been one of those things that I've been just convinced of more and more the more we get into spaces with leaders where we really cultivate community. I want to give you four reasons why I really believe that community is greater than conferences. And let's I kind of want to preface it of why I really believe this because um, conferences provide us a one-way dialogue in terms of information, right? So you think about conferences that we've all been to, you're there, you sit, you take notes, you process often by yourself, and then you go home and you try to implement that on your own. But one of the things and this has really come from the last few spaces that we've created for leaders to be here in Austin. We have a quarterly gathering of leaders that come together here in Austin. We work on ministry together. And here's really some of the convictions that we've seen from that time together. I want to give you four of them. Number one is that community provides you a space to contextualize your learning, right? So we'll even in that space here each quarter, we'll create some space of learning together. We'll read a book, we'll have some training, we'll do some things. But then what that allows us to do in community is to contextualize that learning for each individual person, right? So we'll talk about the differences of somebody from Texas versus North Carolina versus California. Is how do you begin to contextualize some of those things for a big city or a smaller city? And we're able to take some of the information that we're consuming, and it allows us to help us really just contextualize what that concept would ultimately look like for us in our context. So number one is it provides us a space to contextualize our learning. Number two is community provides a space for insight when we get stuck. And for all of us as leaders, if we're growing and we're moving forward, we're going to get stuck, right? And what that allows us to do is actually get outside perspective. I remember our last quarterly gathering. Some of you, if you're watching this in our Facebook group, you remember the interview with Cross. And I still remember this conversation as Cross was sharing in kind of some areas where he was stuck. It was interesting to watch the rest of the room kind of come around and say, man, have you thought about this? What about this? What about this right here? What about this kind of, you're not quite seeing this right here. And what it allows us to do is create outside perspective and insight from us, right? So that community can come around us in our ministry and our leadership and give us some of that insight. So number one is it provides space for contextualized learning. Number two is it provides space for insight when we're stuck. Number three is it actually gives us like feedback loops, right? So it gives us, as we're kind of like processing our information, we're not just isolated in terms of processing that information by ourselves, but it actually gives us some feedback loops to kind of throw out ideas, hear back, and kind of go back and forth as we kind of wrestle with the content and the things that we're learning. And so the community really provides a space with feedback loops, which I think is so important and why community is so valuable. And then number four is I'll say this like PG rated. Community creates support when crap hits the fan. Um, and it just does. Like there's times in our ministry or leadership where things fall apart. We have hard times with other leaders or volunteer staff or issues with college students and young adults. And when that happens, the community can come around us and just like pray for us, encourage us, support us, give us like encouragement. Like it's important to have those things. The reason why I thought about those things, because I was actually messaging back and forth with a college ministry leader, and he was telling me about this conference that he was thinking about going to. And I was sharing with him a little bit about what we've been doing once a quarter here in Austin. And he's like, "Oh man, that would be really good." And it's interesting to me how in the church context and church culture, we default to books, information, conferences as being the thing that really will help move our ministries forward. But what we've seen lots of times over the last several years is community is actually the thing that actually helps drive our ministries forwards and helps us move forward as leaders. And so I want to encourage you, right? So if you're watching this, you're a leader in any space, right? So you could be a college young adult ministry leader, a business leader, family leader, whatever. So one of the things I would encourage you to think through is how do you get yourself around a community that actually will help you move forward, grow, give you space for helping you process learning, insights, feedback loops, support, encouragement, those kinds of things. Because I really believe if the church would actually pivot just a little bit, not to say we don't do like information-based conferences, but if we pivot into more community as being the thing that helps our ministries and helps us grow, I think that we'd have significantly more impact along the way. So couple thoughts for you today. Hope you're doing well. Hey, if you're ever interested in hearing a little bit more about these quarterly gatherings that we have, if you're leading a college young adult ministry, if you have some resources to travel to Austin, if you're working at least 20-ish hours a week, at least on that ministry, reach out to us. We'd love to share a little bit more about that. But hope you're doing well. Have a good December. Thanks for taking a few minutes and jumping on with me today. We will talk to you later.